I'm not describing here an end-to-end process. As I said earlier, that's for another day, possibly for another audience, but more the success factors in that process. For example, the nurture of a community is super important. Creating the engagement, making available searchable materials, keeping those assets up to date well in advance of the moment that you actually want to engage with someone and share a brief with Jon is very important. Within that, knowing the market, planning for success. So knowing the competitors, but more importantly, knowing the characters in the marketplace. They might be with customers, they might be with partners, competitors, they might be in parallel adjacent markets. Let's not have that conversation on the day you deliver the brief to Jon, because that will lead to some rush decision making. That will lead to learning while we're doing the interviews, as opposed to creating that community. In terms of the process itself, we should be thinking about this, the design and the management, not only through our perspective as the hiring company, but also from a candidate perspective. Their expectations, the experience that they're going to have through this process, the on-the-day activity. These are all important topics. You know, these people are buying as much as you're selling and vice versa. So their arrival in the office or their arrival to a Zoom call, as we are here today, that should be prepared appropriately. Now, even if you decide, yeah, do you know what? That really doesn't matter to me. Okay, fair enough. But at least make it a conscious decision. At least make it a conscious decision. The same is true of expectation management. If I'm a salesperson, I'm going to be interested in the ramp. What should I expect? What will the numbers be? What happens if we're off track? What challenges should we expect to be going through together? What KPIs might we have in place? I know that all too often I have created that material after I found a candidate that I like. And all too often, I've attempted to map the answers to those questions to that candidate rather than know the answers, understand for myself what that ramp will look like, and then have a sensible, informed conversation with the guy on the other side of the desk who is a sales professional, who has also been through this process a number of times. When we have gone through the interview process, I would strongly advocate that we use a consistent panel to debate the outcomes of interviews and to drive to a decision. I would advocate that there are a number of key stakeholders in the success of a sales organization, and unless they all buy into the hire and the ramp and the 100-day plan that takes you through that ramp, then we are already going to make it difficult for that candidate, for that hire. They will be pushing against the organization. So we should be very clear about how we get to a decision, and we should also be very ready to move to offer. Not wait until we've worked out how we convince ourselves they need us more than we need them, but let's be ready to go to offer. Not just because delay or ambiguity could risk losing the candidate, but because delay and ambiguity is a bad place for that candidate to start their relationship with the business. So let's be ready to go, the same as we'd be ready to go with a proposal when a customer shows buying intent. It's no different. I'm very aware that these points may sound obvious. And I guess they are. But in a business at this stage in their journey, moving away from founder-led sales, CEO-led sales, the CEO's to-do list often means that it is very difficult to apply consistent rigor, and shortcuts do get taken, even though we all know that some of these topics are critical. But no matter, a hire is going to be made. You are going to move on. You've told your investors you're doing this, a hire will be made. So when that happens, what next for the CEO?